Hey y'all, welcome, welcome, and welcome back to Motivations and Memoirs. I am Iberika, and this is the continuation of our discussion in the Yielding for Healing in Marriage series. The topic being discussed is communication in marriage, the wives version. And I will say it again, gentlemen, don't feel bad because your turn is coming up, because after we have shared the wives version, then of course we want to hear about communication in marriage, the men's version. So stay tuned. Guys, remember, this is aimed at just building up and encouraging and giving persons hope for their marriages. Remember, share with somebody, leave a comment, and if you did not yet subscribe to Motivations and Memoirs, remember to do so. So guys, just continue to stay tuned as we continue to give you contents that are worthy of viewing and worthy of sharing. So come on over as I join with the guest and the discussion continues. Blessings. So then it brings us now to language barriers. And Debbie in her will talk about physical barriers, also mention a few of the language barriers, because when we speak about language barrier, we're Jamaican. So it's not like we're married to somebody where is from Haiti, or let me see what Japan, Trinidad, or America, another country. We're Jamaicans. But even if we say we had somebody from another country, then we would still have to know how to communicate and ensure that there is no language barrier. That aspect is harder, I think. But then even straight across the board, Jamaicans, we have the same culture. But we speak the same language, but we can still have barriers. So when Debbie said that we have to speak in a way where the person understands what we're saying, we're also talking about language barrier, because we talk English or we talk the Jamaican Creole, but we can still have a barrier, because as she said, you said this word, my understanding of that word is X, but you will say, I know that me mean. Or I said it, and your understanding is what me I say. I know that me mean. So my husband one time said, boy, I don't know how to talk to you sometime, because you see, you read into meaning, and I do. So persons have to be always, persons who know me well, know that when I talk to me, know the word what you said to me, because I'm listening to that word, and I am reading into the meaning of that word. So when you say, I know that me mean, it really not mean anything to me, because I heard what you said. So for you to say, I never mean it that way there, or that me mean, you really not talk to me. Because me done hear the word and know the meaning of the word. And so for me, that's a big barrier, because me still hear you say X. I know what X means. So that is going to be in my brain. And that is a problem. But another problem is that we sometimes speak above the language or the comprehension of the other person. So we're Jamaicans, but probably one is intellectual and the other isn't. Because remember, not all of us marry at the same level. So if he's intellectual and I am high school level, if you talk to me, that me can understand high school level too. Because if not, then we not communicate well, because we not understand what you say, and me go, because I am at a lower level I'm going to read into it at the lower level, and it just is a big problem. There's no, we have to ensure clarity of what we're saying. We also have to, as I said, ensure that we don't misuse words, because that's going to cause misinterpretation. And we have to just make sure that the receiver hears and get the message that we're saying, and get it properly. So speak clearly. We also have taboo words, and I found them out in my own marriage, and in just this whole study and reading and trying to understand men. We like to, a lot of times we will say, we will use, when I say taboo words, like put down, you're saying to the person, you do this, but how we say it can be a language barrier. So there's constructive and destructive criticism. And one of the things is that we have to be careful that when we're talking to our spouses, we're not using the destructive criticism, because then the defense goes up, and the barrier is straight across the board. And sometimes not what we say after makes any sense, because all they're hearing is the put down. You always do this. You never do that. You can't do this good. You and all that. So anything I say after that, not cutting it, because you always
Junior. He feels insulted after that.
Thank you very much. You always do this, and every time you do this. Not else, they don't hear anything else, because you always. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You never taboo. Yeah. Right? But I found that turning it around, ask him, why did you do it this way? What is it that, whatever? I find that you get them to explain themselves, and sometimes you realize, say, oh, well, you did that thing, I never really did that, because it's just their own interpretation or understanding of what they're doing and how they want to do it, or why they do it. I also find that asking them, what do you think about this? Or why not try it this way? So instead of saying, you always do that way, come on. Why not try it this way? Come on, what do you think about whatever? And then bam, because you get them thinking now, and you get them to participate now in the argument, rather than you, in whatever it is, rather than you just say, you always bam, barrier. Why you're not more? Stop that. They're done. Done. Right.
Well, I can even add to that with what my fellow panelist said. She said something about having a business idea or something. I have that problem to deal with a lot with my husband. So bursts of ideas constantly, right? Mm-hmm. Constantly. And back in the day, I used to say, that not gonna work. Cause X, Y, Z. That is an offense to them. Yeah. So in recent times, what I did, because he had a business idea, a venture, and he was there telling me, say, we can do this and we can charge X and whatever. I said, so how is it that you come up with a price already without doing anything, any background, any research for no? Yeah, we can do it, man. The price will be less than what the other person's charging, and lick them out because they would have buy from me. So I said, okay, let's do the math and see if it would work. It's a good idea, but see if it worked. Mm-hmm. And when he did the math, he realized what I was saying. So instead of me saying that not gonna work, because I didn't think of it clearly, yeah, I would give him something to work with, to say, okay, this is a situation you probably have to go encounter, and it might cost this and that might cost. Make few calls and see what this is and all of that. So I'm say, oh, babes, it not gonna work for Trina, cause make no sense. Me go so far and only 2 bills. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, there we go. So I can agree with her when she talks about the ideas. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And these ideas seems to come right after a certain activity. That's so at one point in time, you wonder if you should reduce that activity. I mean, the idea.
Yes, because I mean, I'm a type of business person. So I normally ask the question, and when I ask the question, I mean, like, that big defense come up, don't want to talk about it, but I need to know because guess what? At the end of the day, it's all going to boil down to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all going to boil down to me, and I have to be there to stand up. So I have to know.
Right.
And he will say you're negative because you don't want to
Yes,
try
I
nothing,
got that.
Exactly.
I got
Right.
that. He said I am negative every time he tries to say to do something. I'm always negative. It's not negative, but you need to get to the nitty-gritty. You need to find out if it's going to benefit you
Right.
and how
But
are you going to
sometimes
go
as
about it.
wives, we discern.
Yeah,
It's really discern. We discern says something not right
right.
here, so but
That's
then
right.
we present it
Right.
and cause
They're
the
always
barrier.
leaving out something.
Yeah.
They're always leaving out
leaving out
something. And then at the end
They
of the
see
day,
how it,
it's
yeah,
still
they
a
see how it
problem.
starts,
Mhm.
and them
Yes.
see say this can go on, but in the middle,
Yes.
I got tell them say, listen, this way I think about now gonna
Yes.
happen.
It's not gonna happen.
Right. Mhm.
It is something. They all went to a school in the womb or something where they all have the same. I don't know.
I think that's
And
the
like I
soul
would
God
add,
created them.
it's a very good thing when you hear somewhere when in the counseling they would say marriage is about what you can give
Yes.
and not what you can get. So if I am dealing with you, this is not your love language forum, but if I'm dealing with you based on how or based on what your language is, then it will be so much effective.
Right.
Vice versa, because simple put, he wants to he wants to scratch his back. He
Mhm.
likes when his back is scratched. And Mr. When I scratch your back for look if a bump is there. Mr. No bump no there, then if no bump no there, make one. How the hell do you make that bump? Anyway, moving on. So I said, okay, what is in it for me?
Comfort.
That's no fun scratching your back. So I have to put something, I have to put some chips on the table now. So you have to go work with my deal and me scratch your back. Right. So me don't want my back scratched. Look, I can't say that's annoying. So I gonna scratch your back, but you're gonna do what I want you to do at the end of the whole process. So it's a situation like that, So
Yeah.
me don't know. We have enough more to learn till
I have a
Jesus
lot to
comes.
learn.
Oh,
Right.
God, it's
And
a
then
win-win
we
situation.
really do. We really do. It's as Tishan said, it's a process, and indeed it is. Indeed it is. But before we go, we still haven't even touched the emotional barrier. But I suppose we can do that in
We
part
talk
two.
about it. We talk about it,
But
right?
it came out. Some of
Yeah.
it come out. But Tishan, first, just take 30 seconds and just share with a wife, with a couple. I mean, a little heads up as to this whole communication in marriage. And yeah, go ahead.
All right, communication in marriage. It is, as I said first, it's the process.
Mhm.
And in communicating with your husband, you need to be attentive.
Yeah.
Of course, that's number one. Of course, if you don't attentive to them, it's gonna be difficult. Must always like give them their space to do whatever they want to do, not always in their space at all times. Um, and while communicating with them, try to learn a lot,
Yeah.
by observing things that they're doing, saying, and if you say something, how they feel about what you said, and try to encourage your husband at all times, and
Yeah.
you can text now and then and tell a little and give him a little, love verse or something, enjoy a day, and in communicating with your husband, and do your best that you
Okay.
don't reach physical,
Mhm.
because the physical in communication is bad, and when we go physical, it's really messed up everything that God had provided.
And Debbie, to the listeners out there, just share with them. I mean, this whole
You need to be patient. Patient in this communication thing is the process. So
definitely
patient is the virtue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try to get to a point where you can speak freely. I mean, openly. So it's not just your good communication is not limited to one topic or one area.
Right.
Feel safe and in sharing, especially like your private thoughts. When you get to that point, you realize that you're actually getting somewhere. So there's also a book. I am sorry. I'm sorry. Declan is very demanding.
Mhm.
But one of the things is that I read this
That's
book.
okay.
The title of the book was Naked and Not Ashamed. I'll just use that one little title for my own little explanation in that you reach a point whereby it doesn't matter. You're no longer on eggshell. So in your earlier stage, I'm coming, baby, I'm coming. In your earlier stage, you are afraid to touch on certain topics because of how it might make him feel or what might happen, how deep the conversation might be leading to this quarrel. But in a situation now where you're at a point that the eggshell is no longer there, you're talking freely, and me can tell you off, and me go actually tell it that really did make me feel aware.
Right.
And you're not at a point where, but one day if me tell him this and it upset him, the marriage done. No, you have passed that stage whereby you're at a stage where, Antoinette, I'm gonna say it, you say something that is not nice because of the fact that I really need to let this be known, and this is the situation. And you feel free in talking. And after you done talk, after you done belch your chest, you can move on. So talking freely, talking openly, feeling safe in your own space, private tasks, that are those things that people don't really talk about. Having comfortable conversations, no longer a conversation whereby at the end of it is a head and toe sleep or a couch and bed sleep, but you're there right there, my hand can still go around you.
Right.
Me can still be feeling safe, as I said before. So difficulties will come. And if anybody have a husband like my husband, boy, you have the drama, you have the laughter, you have all kind of something.
As I said, the season.
Why
It's a mixture.
one of them roots there.
Yeah.
And the anger is there as well, just like the Moses in the Bible. Do it the way here, and you never listen to me, but you listen to somebody else. And different, so you find that you have them with different temperament at different stage in time, and you wonder where it come from. So it's kind of weird, but get to the point where we can be open and feel free and comfortable in his space to talk, learning when to stop talk, like now.
Right.
I'm always shut down.
And that is a problem. And you have to work. So you have something to work on. We all have different aspects of our lives where we have to, or this whole communication, where we have to work on it. So for me, I had to work on communicating in the language that my husband understood. And I remember many years ago, we were talking, we're in bed at night, much o'clock at night, and we are talking about a situation. And then I realized that he was not understanding anything that I was saying. And so I'm there and I'm going over, and I'm just not getting it, I must say. Because based on his responses, far from whatever, the responses have nothing to do with, because if you heard what I'm saying, what kind of response that? And so after going over this, I said to him, T, what did I say to you?
No idea.
And he said what I said. And that was when it hit home. Because what he said, I said, me never said that. So now I was able to understand why he was responding the way he was. He heard something completely different.
Different.
And what that did for me that night is like it gave me like a ricochet of thoughts and this whole thought. So I had to sit down and say, okay. So we not communicate on the same level none time. I am here and I'm over this one. So it was now fixing and working and position so that we could communicate on the same wavelength. One of the things that I want persons viewing this to take away with them, you should not be in a marriage, be in a relationship. You may not be married yet and you're courting and you not communicate. Sarah, you should not be married and you not communicate. That no make no sense.
That's the biggest part of the relationship, communication.
You cannot be keeping, and I like what you just said, Debbie. After being in the marriage for a number of years, you're now at the place where you can speak freely because you're safe. You're now in a safe zone where you understand your partner understands you, but you now realize that there's something that you really need to share with him. And as you say, it not sounds so good because it's probably an embarrassing situation. He's probably going to feel embarrassed about it. He's probably going to react negatively about it. But at the same time, it is a problem. And we need to get across this problem. So you're now in your safe zone where you can speak freely and say, Moses, this is how I feel about that. Where I can say, Colin, this is how I feel. Where you can say to Sean, I remember your husband name. Norman, this is how I feel about this. And rest assured that the reaction is not going to be in a business, but no, we're going to sit and work it out because we're human, we're social beings, so we're going to feel. And this comes now. So you see right now, the emotional barriers come out. The emotional barrier is one where you feel one type of way. And you're up in your feelings and you're not talk to the man and you're not talk to the woman. What kind of foolishness is that? Something happened and them say, me feel one type of way. It make you feel one type of way. You're up in your feelings about it. You resent the man, you resent the woman, and you're not talking about it because me can't bother. Him not understand. She not gonna understand. I mean, just can't bother, but in your heart you're vexed. And so you're resentful. And then so what happens now is a communication blockage being built up, and it will continue build up, and it will continue build up until one day it will spark down.
I've learned that way because I used to be that way. So like if I say something, you say something, just like, look here, I'm opening my feelings, look here, I can't bother, don't touch me, that and all of that. And I've learned the hard way, saying that doesn't work.
It doesn't.
It does work because guess what? It's pulling us apart.
Exactly.
It's not getting us closer. So I mean, it don't work. So
Yeah,
I'm learning. As I said, I'm still learning the process of not being that way. Even if we say things that, the two of us vex or me vex, woman always vex, I don't know why. So, I mean, we just write it over and just, we're gone again. You understand? I'm trying to not be that person to just all up in my feelings and something. If I'm all up in it, I said, I'm in my feelings. So I'm not going to talk to you. I'm serious. I'm not going to talk to you. And that's it. And him just still come around and him would come on him, and all of that. But I'm learning.
Yes, you are.
It is coming down. Trust me. Yeah.
This might even be another topic though, but just a little bit. A lot of couples, instead of discussing the issues, they use intercourse to cover it.
Yeah.
And when you cover it like that, it results in a situation whereby you get all up in your feelings with all of those issues that is unresolved from way back when, till one day you're gonna explode and it can cause a rift. So
Yes, yes.
I mean, is a serious thing where we have to realize how much we need to communicate and don't use something to replace that which you need to resolve. You know, make no sense. Because if me upset and you upset, me don't know intercourse coming, because as you just said, it can't touch me. It worked for some people and I just don't know. And after that, them good. And then for years it's building like that and it caused a bigger problem.
Yeah, I have to talk about it and just get it out and done. And
Of course.
You know,
Because
that's how I know.
What it does too, it causes, so resentment builds up, anger builds up, and then it turns into unforgiveness. And so you're with your partner, but you're not really free because he did something or she did something one never did talk about and it never deal with. So it's still hanging in the air, but not dealt with. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming and for sharing, you know, your own concept, your own ideas, your own experiences with the viewers on Motivations and Memoirs. And so in closing tonight, I want to say to everyone viewing that, again, marriage out of work, 24/7. But if there is a breakdown of communication, so there are different aspects of marriage that we have to work on. So this whole platform is about communication. If there's a breakdown of communication, guys, you're taking this away. If the communication broke down, the marriage are going to broke down too, right? Yes, you also should take away from this that we need patience. It's a process. We don't get it all after 27 years, miss. Me not get it. I mean, know people married 30 odd years, 40 odd years, and them still not get it 100%. But what it does is that years gives experiences. So we learn. Once we are teachable and we are learnable, that is not even a correct word. Teacher, learnable. Right, but so once we are willing to learn, we are willing to go through the process, we're willing to say, look here, man, life uncertain and time too short, and I want peace, more peace of mind, man. I want my whole mental sanity. I want to be whole in my life. I want to be whole in my marriage, right? And so because of that, we're going to continue the process. We're going to learn, because inevitably we are striving, and we should be striving to be wives like Sarah, and not Sister Lot, who, but if you tell the man, say, but I like you, sit down here. Look how Bagata take you and you sit down here, but you, I believe in a God. You know, they get up and go cross God and dead. Where you live for? It makes sense, because literally that's what she was saying. Where you live for? Master, get up and cross God and dead, because you know your life now no use. It make no sense. No, but we want to be women like Sarah, who, when her husband come and say, when God told Abraham, leave Haran or Haran, whatever the pronunciation, and come to go to a place that I'm going to take you. And Abraham said, come and pack up. She didn't run away, she not throw no tantrum, but she got up because she trusted her husband and she believed in him. She believed that he was the man, he was the head, he was the prince or the king, the priest in the house. And so he had the ability to make good decisions for the family. And so she packed up her belongings and gone with her man to an unknown place, because she knows, say, and a full man she has a man who as his head on his body. We also learn that we must be patient in our effort to communicate with our spouse. We must be patient because it is a process. So we have to apply enough patience. And one of the things that I want everybody to take away tonight is that if your partner are not Christian, pray hard for them to come in line with God. Because only, as I just mentioned, Sarah was willing to go with Abram because Abram had now aligned himself with God. And so she was able to trust Abram's judgment because the man had God as his head. So I encourage you, wives, pray for your husbands. One of the things that we do best apart from tracing off the man, them and talk about bag of things and yap, we can pray. Now you're not Bible talk about send for no wailing man, because man no wail.
Wailing women.
Send for the wailing women. Because we were born with the ability to give birth, right? To conceive some things. We see it in our husbands, we see it in our children, and we give birth. We don't stop pray. We push. We pray until something happens. We pray until we give birth. We pray until we see birth in our families, birth in our husband's business. We see changes, right? And so I encourage everyone that we continue and fight for our marriages because there is hope for marriages. No matter how it looks, there is hope. A lot of times, things look really terrible, but God is able. And I also want to leave with everyone. Every marriage has its own dynamics. There is no competition with nobody. So your family, this is what you do. And you're comfortable, do it. No matter what, look over next door and say, oh, them do that, so me want to do it. It's not going to work for you because every marriage has its own dynamics. In some marriage, the wife cook. In some marriage, the wife don't cook. The man does all the cooking. That is not your business. It's working for them. You're not running, you're not in any competition. You're in a marriage. And your marriage is to make you better.
And I have this book that I read.
Yes.
This is the book that I read.
Prayers of Blessings Over Your Husbands. And it is by Bruce Wilkinson. That's supposed to be a good read. Because he's
very much. I bought it online. I read it one morning in my devotional thing and I looked it up and I bought it online.
Great.
It's a very good book.
So that's a helpful book. There's
also another one by Stormy, Power for
Oh
Praying
yes,
Wife.
the Power for Praying Wife.
I have that one too.
Yes, I have that one.
She has taught me a lot.
Right.
Yes.
Praying for myself with the changes that I want to see in him. Because after the time of reflection, we are safe.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
This thing is just broad. And well, let's see what's gonna happen in part 2 as we continue with this whole communication in marriage, the wives version. So part 2, we are expecting another set of ladies to come and just share, their own version of communication in marriage as we look on some different aspects of this whole thing. So once again, thank you so much, guys. And viewers, remember, as you go walk with God and ensure that you communicate well. You are learning to communicate. Remember, we not get it right. We are still learning. So even us who sit here and share, we still learn. We not get it yet. It's 27 years next month, and I are still learning. And my husband is still learning because every day you find out, you learn about your own self daily too,
Something new.
Because I never think that I could ever have a problem with coffee. until last year I just realized that Coffee and me, and we had to part company. At one stage I thought it was the brand. So I brought down a brand and no, it wasn't me. My sister came and she know me love coffee, so she always come with coffee. And she, but it's the same brand that I brought down the last time I traveled. And then so I was blaming the brand. I said maybe it's the brand. And then me change and say, all right, let me go back to my normal mountain peak. Same thing. So I realized that Coffee and me just have to part company, not like me anymore. I discovered that about myself, that coffee, all of a sudden, me also drink coffee practically every day. I say, bye-bye. So we learn things about ourselves daily. Just as
You
we
reach your
learn
quota.
things. Yes, thank you. Right. So guys, thank you so much again. May God bless you in your own ministries as you continue to share the word of God and share the love of God with everyone you come in contact with. And now you, Madam Tishan, well, Debbie are all veteran. She preach, she teaches everything. She all veteran. Always a chat to people. Always at this, always at that. But you, Madam Tishan, you are now on a new platform. So, yes,
Welcome to the club.
welcome to the club. Yes. So thank you so much, guys, and you take care of your lovely selves and your family as we
Thank you too. Nice meeting you, Debbie.
communicate.
Okay, nice meeting you too.
Yes.
Great. Right.
Yes.
Thanks, Antoinette, for the opportunity.
Thank you. so
Okay,
much.
it was a pleasure.
It
Yes.
was indeed. And
Okay.
It's always a pleasure to have you. And so, guys, we continue to walk good, and as we yield for healing in our marriages. God bless you. Take
Okay,
care.
bye.